Hey guys, this is Dr. Sangeeta from Dental Pathshala, where we help you understand and learn dentistry better and easy way. And today's topic is a continuation of the dental plaque. So today's video we are going to read how the plaque of development of the plaque takes place, how a plaque is formed. So first of all, a layer of helical, which is an attachment which is made up of carbohydrate or protein which is coming from the saliva or from the bacteria or from the GCF. So these are some protuberances. So this is basically the pellicle is the irregularities which present on the tooth surface, which are made on the tooth surface so that bacteria can come and attach to this surface. And when the bacteria comes and attach to this surface, then more bacteria come and attach to these bacteria. So we are going to cover how this forms dental plaque. So the specificity of the bacteria, how these bacteria combine and forms the dental plaque. So today's video is an interesting video. So let's get started. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon. That way you get a notification as soon as I release a video lecture. Talking about the development of the plaque, it is not like just if this is the tooth surface, it's not like just that bacteria come and just attach to the tooth surface. So this is the whole process. As I've told you, this is building up of an empire. So the plaque accumulation or plaque formation is a long process, and we are going to study this whole empire in today's video. So the first thing is there is formation of pellicle onto the tooth surface. So immediately after you brush your teeth, immediately after a vigorous brushing, in some nanoseconds there is accumulation of the pellicle. So basically, suppose if this is the tooth surface, there are from the saliva or from the GCF or from the bacteria, there are some protuberances, some attachments which occur on the surface of the tooth. Now these attachments can be carbs, it can be proteins, so it can be anything. We'll talk about in detail. So this is the formation of pellicle. So first thing is there is a formation of pellicle. The second thing is there is initial adhesion and attachment of the bacteria. So there are some bacteria which come and initially attach to this plaque. So this plaque attracts only specific, as we have already studied that plaque is a specific thing. So there are only specific bacteria which can come and attach to it. So immediately the first bacteria which comes are very specific bacteria. So this is the initial adhesion and attachment of the bacteria to the plaque. And then later on these bacteria attract more other bacteria, and then there is accumulation of other bacteria, there is colonization of bacteria, there are so many things which is happening. So basically this is our plaque, the accumulation of the bacteria onto the surface of the tooth. To make it easier for you to understand, you can also remember is this way that the coronavirus has, the spread of the coronavirus, as it has spread from the Wuhan lab. So Wuhan lab, where it was prepared, was the formation of the pellicle, and then later on when it get adhere and attached to the people, where it was the Wuhan market. So this was the Wuhan non-veg market. So this was the initial adhesion in which the coronavirus get attached to the people was in the market, and then later on it spread from people to people. So it spread via the contacts, so from one person to another person, and it spread to the whole world. So this is like the development of plaque is like the spreading of the coronavirus, same way, but it is not as deadly as the coronavirus. We all know that. So the formation of plaque, now one by one we are going to study all the stages, the formation of plaque, and then the adhesion and attachment of the bacteria to the plaque, of the bacteria to the pellicle. And then later on there is a colonization, and more bacteria come and they colonizes, more bacteria come and make colonies. So the same way as the coronavirus spreads. So let's discuss it one by one. So the first thing is a pellicle is formed onto the surface of the tooth. So immediately after you do vigorous tooth brushing, within few nanoseconds there is an acquired pellicle which is formed, and this is a homogeneous membranous acellular film. So these are the film which doesn't contain any cell, but they cover the surface of the tooth, and they frequently form the interface between the tooth and the plaque. So basically it is just the connection between the tooth and the plaque. These are the pellicles. These pellicles are formed either from the saliva or the host or the food debris or the bacteria, and the fully established pellicle is formed within the 30 minutes. So within half an hour a fully established pellicle is formed, and within 2 hours it is 0.8 micrometer in diameter, and there is a thin layer which is attached onto the surface of the tooth. So thin layer of what? Thin layer of, we'll study about the composition of the pellicle. So it is not bacteria. See, pellicle is not bacteria. Okay, pellicle is just the component which is coming either from the saliva, host, food debris or bacteria. So it is just kind of a protein or carbohydrate, you can remember it. So these are some thin layer which are attached onto the surface because of the electrostatic forces and because of the van der Waals forces. As we all know, electrostatic forces, between the positive and the negative, and weak forces between the two molecules of van der Waals forces. These thin layers are thin layers of the salivary protein or the bacterial protein. So there is basically protein and carbohydrate. So these layers are formed in form of granules in the pellicle, on which the bacteria come and attach onto the surface. And these salivary pellicle or these salivary protein can be detected onto the clean enamel surface within 1 minute, because within 1 minute after tooth brushing they come and they attached onto the surface of the tooth. And if we look at after the 2 hours, they become 30 to 100 nanometers thick. So a layer which is formed of pellicle onto the surface of tooth brushing after 2 hours is 30 to 100 nanometers of the thickness, and there are grains, there are globules or grains if we see in an electron microscope. So these are some protuberances. So these are like a grains or globules. So ऐसा मोटे मोटे globules से बन जाते हैं दांत के surface पे. Globules or grains are formed and they attach to the hydroxyapatite of the enamel via stalk-like structures. So they attach to the surface of the enamel. Now these salivary pellicles or these pellicles are not, the composition is not similar to that of saliva, because not everything is coming from saliva. See, these pellicles are formed due to the selective adsorption. So whatever a pellicle requires, it is taking only that part from the saliva. So remember it this way, that pellicle formation is like formation of coronavirus in the Wuhan lab. So they are not taking everything from the bat. So they are taking only selective things from the bat which are causing coronavirus. So similarly, not everything is coming from the saliva. There is a selective adsorption. So only selective proteins and selective carbohydrates are coming, and they are binding to the surface with the help of electrostatic or van der Waals forces, or the hydrophobic forces are also present, because this pellicle doesn't want to be washed out with the saliva. It wants to stay on the surface of the tooth. So there are also hydrophobic forces, because they are water repelling forces. They are not letting saliva to come and get washed out with the saliva itself. So these are the salivary pellicles, and after 24 hours these are covered with the fibrillar particles which are 500 to 900 nanometer thick. Now these pellicles are formed with the fibrillar particles, and later on after 36 hours they become smooth. So after 24 hours of the formation, these are fibrillar particles. After 2 hours these are globules. After 24 hours these are fibrillar, and after 36 hours they become smooth and globular. So coming to the composition of the acquired pellicle. The acquired pellicle consists of amino acid 4.6%, and these amino acids are more salt. So you can remember it from the salt, serine and alamine, tyrosine, and there is also a leucine present. So serine, alamine, leucine and tyrosine. So these are more salt amino acids. Hexosamine, if we talk about, we have glucosamine and galactosamine. They occur in 2.7% and also 14% of the carbohydrate. These are 14% of the carbohydrate. These are the glucose, galactose, mannose and fructose, the main basic carbohydrates. they are making the pellicle. So you are asking me, if you are asking me, ma'am, salivary, what is salivary pellicle? Is there bacteria? What is it composed of? Basically it is composed of all these things. As I've told you, these are mainly the amino acids component, mainly the carbohydrates, and also some molecules which are coming from the saliva. These are the proline rich protein, amylase. Now these salivary molecules have receptor for specific bacteria. That is why we are reading this proline rich protein. We will talk about this when we are talking about the bacteria later on. So we will come to know that proline rich protein has some receptor for specific bacteria, also amylase and statherines and cristatines, mucins, lactoferrin and lysozymes. These are present in the acquired pellicle. So basically acquired pellicle is made up of amino acid, carbohydrate and some salivary molecules. You have to remember protein rich proteins and amylase, which are very important for the bacteria to combine. So basically these salivary proteins, bacteria come and get attached to these salivary proteins. So what is basically the significance of pellicle? It protects because it has also some, because of the selective adsorption, so it has some immunoglobulins antibody which are present from the mouth, and it decreases the caries. So the pellicle is actually preventing the bacteria from drying. So because it is making a layer onto the surface of the tooth, this is a moist layer, so it is preventing the drying of the tooth, and it is the bacterial action, actually the debris, all the debris is flushing out, and it is the nidus for bacteria. So it is adhering all the microorganism, the bacteria are coming and adhering to it, and it gives the attachment to calculus, it gives attachment to plaque. Basically this pellicle is providing attachment to the plaque. So after the formation of acquired pellicle, the second stage is initial adhesion and attachment of the bacteria. Now the pellicle is formed, the bacteria come and attach to the surface of the pellicle, and this happens via, this process is a little bit long process, so it happens via the transportation to the surface. So the pellicle is formed and bacteria wants to reach to it. So bacteria comes close to the pellicle, this is transportation to the surface, then there is initial adhesion. When it sticks, when the bacteria sticks to the plaque, and then there is attachment when it makes a bond. When when it is close to the, this is the pellicle which is formed. Okay, and transportation to the surface means bacteria which was here, now the bacteria is coming close to the pellicle. And initial adhesion is when the bacteria comes and comes in close contact with the pellicle, and attachment means when the bacteria comes and attaches to the pellicle. So it makes a bond, it makes an irreversible bond. So this is the attachment to the pellicle. And then there is colonization, and it starts growing and it starts attracting the other bacteria. So this is the whole process of initial adhesion and attachment. So the first thing is transportation to the surface. Transportation to the surface is, it's like, abhi now pellicle has formed in the Wuhan lab, right? So Wuhan lab has already produced the coronavirus. Now this coronavirus from Wuhan lab, it should get transferred to somewhere, to some public place, because the Chinese wanted to transfer it to somewhere so that it can spread to people. So it first spread to the Wuhan market. So this Wuhan market is transportation to the surface. And then the initial adhesion, that means this, they have spread this, they have put this virus, the coronavirus, into the bat, so that the people can buy the bat and cook the bat and then eat the bat and spread the coronavirus. So Wuhan market is a transportation to the surface. From Wuhan lab, the pellicle, it has transported to the Wuhan market. Now from Wuhan market, this bat in which there is coronavirus, they have put this bat into the Wuhan market. Now the people has started checking to buy the bats. If they're, suppose they are making bat soup, so they are checking for some bats, and this is the initial adhesion. When they take this bat to the home, bat, and they cook this bat and heat and cook and eat, that means this is the attachment. So this coronavirus is now attached to the person, and then there is colonization of the surface, and then there is a spreading of coronavirus from one person to another and spread it to the world. So this is the whole process. This is like our coronavirus. It is from the pellicle, from the lab, it is coming to the market, and then it is going to the person's house, and then the person is eating and acquiring the virus. So this is how it is happening, transportation to the surface, and then there is initial adhesion of the pellicle to the bacteria, and after it is just stick to the surface, then it makes a bond also. See, suppose this one is our pellicle, the bacteria comes close contact to the surface, so this one is the close contact, so it has come closer to it. Earlier it was here, now it has come close, so this is transport to the surface. Now it is just close, it has come just close to the initial adhesion, it has just come to the surface of this pellicle. This is the bacteria, but it has not bonded. See, if we see, it can fall down. Now it has made some attachment. Now it cannot come down. Now the bacteria has stick to the pellicle, so it has made an attachment, and then there is colonization, there is spread. So transportation to the surface happens via, there is a random contact of bacteria to the pellicle. Bacteria is just flowing into the saliva, and it comes and contacts with the pellicle through Brownian motion, through sedimentation of the organism. So the sedimentation, there is a bacterial accumulation which is happening close to the pellicle. There is a liquid flow, the bacteria are flowing into the saliva, and they just see the pellicle, they come and get attached to it. And there is also some active bacterial movement which is through the chemotactic activity happening. Talking about the second one we have is the initial adhesion. Now this initial adhesion is when the bacteria comes and it attaches to the pellicle. So once it is come and it is attached to the pellicle, so this bond is reversible. As I've told you, it is just come and made just close to, so it can fall down. So this is a reversible process. And if we see this woman in the market, she has not buy the bat, she is just looking for the bat. See, so if she goes at her house, if she takes the bat at her home, she cooks and eats it, then it is going to get attachment. So till now in the market, when she is exploring some bats to buy, this is just the initial adhesion. So this is the reversible adhesion. Bacteria can anytime go back to the saliva again. This is initiated through some short and long forces. Now there are van der Waals forces and there are electrostatic repulsive forces. So there is one theory for these forces which is our DLVO theory. So this DLVO theory is given by 4 scientists named Dejaguin, Landau, Verwey and Overbeek. So these scientists told that there is separation of two particles of 1 nanometer. So the two particles are separated by 1 nanometer, and there is the total energy of these particles is the Gibbs energy of attraction and Gibbs energy of repulsion. Now this Gibbs energy tells about the charge between the particle and the distance between these particles. So there is a charge, there is a potential difference, and also there is a distance between, and there is a graph which this DLVO theory tells about. So this theory is like these two particles are like two females in the Wuhan market. So there are two females, two ladies in the Wuhan market who wants to buy this bat, who are bargaining for this bat to buy, which the bat is having a coronavirus. So this is our potential difference, which is the y-axis. I am writing the potential difference, and this is the time. So this gives us the relationship between the potential difference and the distance between two particles. So the x-axis is the distance between the two particles. So there are 4 possible interactions for particles. First of all, if there are two females, if there are same charge, that means two females wanted to buy this bat. Now there will be if there are two females, suppose if there are two females inside a house or inside anywhere in the market or anywhere, these females, the same charge, they are going to repel to each other. So the the distance between the two charge is going to increase, and there will be a potential difference of repulsion. So the potential difference, this side is the repulsion side, and this side we are going to draw the attraction side. So the two, when there are same particles, then they are going to repel. Suppose if there are two females, they are going to fight to each other. So there will be a force of repulsion. So the same charge. The another one is there are one guy, smart guy, and there is one smart girl. So if there are opposite charge, they are going to attract each other. So this is our attraction, potential difference of attraction. And suppose there is one more scenario when these same charge are brought together in a very close environment. So suppose if two ladies are locked inside a house. So if two ladies are locked inside the house, the first thing, they are going to fight a lot. Initially the days they are going to fight, but later on, because they are only two people who are living, they will make so strong bonds. Initially they are going to fight to each other, and later on they'll become best friends, and they will become so best friends that they will be inseparable. No guy can separate them, nothing, nobody can separate them. So initially they are going to be repulsive, and then they are going to be repulsive a lot. There will be lot of fight going between these two females, but later on they are going to attract each other, and they are going to make a strong bond. They will be best friend forever. So this strong bond is known as the primary minimum. So primary minimum is the distance at which they are forming this hard mass. They are actually inside their orbits, they are intersected, they are intermingled, they are making this strong bond in their orbits that they cannot be separated at all. So this is the primary minimum. Now the same charge, there is also one more situation wherein there is same charge. The two ladies are there with some electrolyte added. We have added some electrolyte. So a smart handsome guy is kept with two girls. So initially these two girls are going to fight for this guy, right? So they will be show that we are very nice. So initially there will be a force of attraction, because they'll show it to the guy that we are so nice, we are this and that. So there will be, and later on the potential difference, repulsion potential difference is going to be a lot, and then this will be the same thing. So this attraction, which is in the beginning, it is just the show off. They don't like each other, but they are pretending that they like each other. So when the same charge are brought together, when these two females were brought in the same house, so they were inseparable. Initially they hated a lot, they used to fight a lot, but later on they become so good friends, they made so strong bond that they were inseparable, which was our primary minimum. And the secondary minimum is wherein these ladies are showing to that person, to the electrolyte, that we are so nice. So they are actually liking each other, but that is not a strong bond. So the particle initially attract each other in the beginning to show how good they are, and if they want to move now, they will move in the whole pack. So the two particles as well as the electrolyte, so they will make a bond, but they will move in the whole pack. So this theory tells us the interaction of particles with the distance of 1 nanometer. So how these particles show their nature based on these particles. So after the initial adhesion, there is attachment, there is a firm anchorage, there is a firm bond between the surface, between the pellicle and the bacteria by ionic bond, by covalent bond, or by hydrogen bond. And once the bacteria crosses this permanent Gibbs energy, which we talked about in the DG vivo theory, in this, when the bacteria crosses this Gibbs permanent energy, there is a permanent bond which is formed. So we have talked about this. When the two ladies live in a same apartment, they made a strong bond. Now once the bacteria crosses this permanent energy, there is a strong bond which is made with the direct contact, and there is a bridging of true extracellular filamentous appendages. So there is a strong bond. These appendages, they are going to share, the bond is going to share, this length of these filamentous appendages is 10 nanometer. So this is a bond which is made between the two bacteria, and this bond is made up to a length of 10 nanometers. So on the rough surface, there is attachment of the bacteria. Now there is a good attachment, there is a strong bonding on the rough surface if we compare with the smooth surface, because we all know that bacteria attract more on the rough surfaces, and there is an ionic bond, there is a close bond which is formed between these two bacteria, and there are receptors which are present onto the surface. So on the bacteria there are adhesion proteins, and on the pellicle there are complementary receptors which are present, and they are combining each other, they are making a bond. So once as we have already studied, the bacteria, the coronavirus is transported to the Wuhan market, and then this was when the ladies were bargaining about the bat. Now this one of the ladies has took this bat, and once she has cooked the bat and eat it, now there is no going back of the coronavirus. It has made a permanent bond. The coronavirus has made a permanent bond with the person now. So this is the attachment. And this coronavirus is going to pass from the bat to the lady which is cooking it to the American steak. So this lady is cooking American steak. Okay, so the pass which are the receptors of the pellicle. Now these receptors are proline rich protein, which we all know, amylase, which we all know, and sialic acid. So these are the receptors. Pass are the receptors which are present on the pellicle, and these receptors are present for two bacteria. One is actinomyces and one is S. streptococcus. And basically in streptococcus, S. sanguis is the primary colonizer. So primary colonizer are the bacteria which makes colonies initially, which make colonies in the beginning. So the non-vegetarian, so the American, the people, the lady who's eating the American steak, so American actinomyces and steak is the streptococcus. It is just to remember, you to remember for a long period of time, so that the lady who's eating the non-veg is having the primary coronavirus. She is the first patient because she is eating American steak. So it is actinomyces, it is binding first. The actinomyces is binding and the streptococcus, and in streptococcus also streptococcus sanguis is the first or the primary colonizer. Now actinomyces has fimbriase. These fimbriase bind to the proline rich protein, proline rich receptors. So the proline rich receptors have fimbriae for actinomyces. You remember, if I have told you that the pellicle has some receptor for the bacteria. Now these they are fimbriae. These proline rich receptors or proline rich protein have receptor for actinomyces. So actinomyces come and it combine, it makes a bond with the proline rich protein. So A viscous, and also there is one more thing. A viscous has some hidden receptors. So A viscous has some cryptic segments or cryptitop we call it. These are the hidden receptors which are recognized by the pellicle and which are present in the proline rich protein of the pellicle. So these actinomyces viscous come and it get attached to the proline rich protein or proline rich receptor, which is not visible, but it has some hidden receptors which we call it the cryptitops. Now this A viscous, it combined with the proline rich protein with the lock and key mechanism because it is inseparable. So it is like a specific key which is designed on the proline rich receptor, and the lock is our actinomyces A viscous. So talking about, there is attachment which has taken place. Now talking about the colonization and plaque maturation, which happens in two ways. So now that a person is infected with the coronavirus, now the next one is colonization of the surface and the biofilm formation. So it happens via two mechanisms. One is the primary colonizer is the person who went to the Wuhan market, bought the bat soup, eat the bat soup and get infected with the coronavirus. So primary colonizer are all the people who eat meat. So all the people who are non-vegetarian are primary colonizer. Secondary colonizer are the people who are vegetarians. So who get infected not with the meat, not with the source which spreaded infection, but from the other people who eat meat. So secondary colonizer are basically all the microorganisms, all the bacteria which come later on. The primary bacteria, so this is the tooth surface, this is our pellicle, and onto the pellicle we have the first bacteria which come and attach onto the surface of the pellicle is our primary colonizer. So the red one are our primary colonizer, which come and attach to the pellicle. So these are the primary colonizer. Primary colonizer are the people who eat American steak. So this is actinomyces and streptococcus. This is just to remember, A for actinomyces and S for streptococcus. Secondary colonizer are all the bacteria, rest of the species of bacteria, which didn't come first but which came later on, and which cannot get attracted, which cannot get attached to the surface of the pellicle, but they can get attached to the surface of bacteria. So these bacteria with the who eat meat, so these bacteria they can spread the corona to other people, because these vegetarians, they are not eating meat, so there is no direct spread of infection, so there is no direct contact to the pellicle. So secondary colonizers, they attach to the primary colonizers, so they don't attach to the surface of the pellicle. In fact, they attach to the bacteria which came first. So the bacteria which came first are our aerobic bacteria, so they utilize oxygen, and then later on, when the oxygen is vanished, when all of the oxygen is finished by the primary colonizer, the secondary colonizer are mostly anaerobic bacteria. So these are the secondary colonizer. When the oxygen is distinguished or vanished, then they come and they grow, so they don't require oxygen to grow because there is no oxygen. So the bacteria which came later on are who eat vegetarian are who eat fruits and palak, you can remember. So secondary colonizer are Fusobacterium nucleatum, and Fusobacterium nucleatum, it cannot get attached to the pellicle. It wants actinomyces or streptococcus to get attached to make the plaque. And also we have Provitella, in that we have P. intermedia and P. gingivalis. These are the secondary colonizers. So this is the adhesion. Now adhesion occurs in two mechanisms. First is co-aggregation. So this is the co-aggregation, and another one is co-adhesion. So there are two mechanisms. In the colonization, how bacteria grow, there are two methods. One is co-aggregation and another one is co-adhesion. So co-aggregation and co-adhesion. So co-aggregation happens between the bacteria who are from meat to meat, people who are non-vegetarian to the people who are non-vegetarian. So within the species of Streptococcus, within other species of Streptococcus sanguis, Streptococcus mitis, like that Streptococcus group. So these are the people who are of the same category. From non-veg to non-veg is the co-aggregation, the bonding, the spreading of the coronavirus. And the spreading from non-vegetarian to vegetarian, that is from the people from the red to the people from the green, is our co-adhesion. That means co-aggregation happens, co-aggregation happens wherein the bacteria who can come and attach to the surface. Suppose this is the surface and there are bacteria. So the bacteria in co-aggregation can come and directly attach to the surface of the pellicle. So this is the co-aggregation. Co-adhesion is that the bacteria are free, then this also bacteria are free floating, so rest of the bacteria, they directly cannot attach to the surface, but they can attach to the bacteria who are above the surface. So this is our co-adhesion. So this is the difference between co-aggregation and co-adhesion. Co-aggregation happens between the free floating bacteria and they are combining with already planktonic bacteria. So they are coming and they can attach directly onto the surface. But co-adhesion are the sessile bacteria. They are the secondary colonizer which can come and attach to the primary colonizer. So these are the primary colonizer. Okay. And this is also one more primary colonizer. Okay. So this is also one more primary colonizer. This is also one more person who eats non-veg. So this is our co-aggregation. Co-adhesion is, it cannot directly attach to the surface, but it has to attach to the people who eats non-veg, because it is not eating non-veg, so there is no direct contact. So this is about co-adhesion. It cannot directly attach onto the surface, but it can attach to the other bacteria. For example, F. nucleatum can attach to many bacteria. So F. nucleatum, it cannot directly attach to the surface, but it can attach to Streptococcus, it can attach to A. comitans. So this is the primary attachment is happening at the primary colonizer are attaching onto the surface, and then later on the secondary colonizers are attaching, and the primary colonizer are giving this attachment to the secondary colonizer as if the people are spreading the coronavirus. So the primary colonizer, they are giving receptors for the secondary colonizer so that secondary colonizer come and they can make a colony with them. So different genera of streptococcus, different genera of non-vegetarian, one from the Wuhan market, one from any other market, are our examples. So these are the whole red is the bacteria or the people who got coronavirus from the Wuhan market, and these the one with the black lining are the bacteria who are non-vegetarian, but they didn't go to the Wuhan market. So these are our co-aggregation. So this is between the variant same genera of streptococcus from one streptococcus to another streptococcus, and later on this co-aggregation between the gram negative between the other bacteria. Now later on, when these bacteria can come and give attachment to the other bacteria like our Fusobacterium nucleatum, P. gingivalis and T. denticola. So this is our co-adhesion. It is coming and attaching to the other surface, so it is giving coronavirus to other people. This is how the colonization, this is how the spreading of coronavirus takes place. So this is, I have tried to make it easier for you. So there is a bridge which is formed between the two bacteria if they don't have any receptor for each other. Now there is a third bacteria. Suppose there is this guy, one guy, and there is this another guy. They don't have receptors. For example, this guy is from China, this guy is from India. So there is no spreading of the coronavirus until and unless some other guy flies from China, comes to India and then spread the infection. So this is our third bacteria which is making a bridge. They don't have receptors for each other, but some other bacteria is coming and giving attachment to both of these bacteria. So in case P. loci is the third bacteria which is giving attachment to the A. israelis or S. oralis. So this is how this connection, this co-aggregation bridge is developed with the help of a third bacteria. Now it can be a good or bad. Now you will be wondering how it can be good, because it can compete also, like how if war happens, then all the people will die. All the people who are infected with coronavirus will die. So it is good or bad. Good is when the third bacteria is making enzyme, and when the third bacteria is giving food to both of them. It is giving some enzymes and it is destructive the oral environment. It is destructing the environment and providing nutrition for both of these. And it is bad for bacteria is when the third bacteria is is eating the same thing which both of these are eating. So there will be a shortage of food like that. So co-aggregation, this bridge or this adhesion of different genera, it happens because of the lectin-like adhesion. So when there is lectin-like adhesion, the molecules stick together. And when we put these bacteria into lactose, when lactose is added, these bacteria get separated. So these bacteria, they get separated once we add lactose into it. So this adhesion is due to lectin-like adhesion, and this separation, once we add lactose, these bacteria, they get separated. So co-aggregation is inhibited due to the lactose and other glycosides. So the co-aggregation breaks because of the lactose. And when these third bacteria is eating the same thing, then there might be a competition. Now if it has receptor for only one bacteria and there are many bacteria out there, so they will compete with each other to get attached to this. So this, if like vaccine has come, so all the people who are infected with coronavirus, they all want the vaccine, so they will fight with each other. If there is a shortage of vaccine, so this is the survival of the fittest. So the who wins will get the vaccine, who wins will get the receptor for this. So there are two kind of attachments. One is our corn cob formation. So corn cob formation is like our bhutta. So bhutta is our corn. So it is like the corn cob. So if how the base or the core of the corn, and we have the corn cobs like makai. There is a corn, right? So there are few what do you say, the few grains of the corn all around. So this is a corn cob appearance. So the attachment of bacteria to one another, if it is like a corn cob, this happens when there is actinomyces, or when there is Bacterionema machuti in the core. So there is actinomyces in the core, and outside there is Streptococcus, or outside there is P. gingivalis. So these bacteria, when they combine and attach with each other, they form appearance of corn cob. So it likes a corn cob. It's like a makki. ऐसे, so beneath is the actinomyces and outside is the Streptococcus or P. gingivalis. And there is one more also appearance, which is our test tube brush appearance. In this test tube brush appearance, there is a long filamentous in the core, and there are short filamentous bacteria which are at the peripheries, and this is seen in the supragingival plaque, which is associated with periodontitis, and this concave appearance is seen in the gingivitis, seen in the periodontitis. So this is the appearance, two kind of appearance. Now Sukransky et al. In 1998, he gave these samples, 3000, he did a study on 3000 samples. And first of all, let's just revise it. The initial adhesion, we have covered the transportation to the surface, initial adhesion, attachment and colonization. Transportation to the surface is the first thing is the pellicle formation. Formation of pellicle is making of the virus in the Wuhan lab, then transported it to the Wuhan market, which is the transportation to the surface. Initial adhesion is when it is transferred to the bat and the lady is holding the bat with the coronavirus, and attachment is when she goes home, cooks the bat with the coronavirus and then eat it, then it makes an irreversible bond. And colonization is when it is spreading of the coronavirus, like from one bacteria, there is attachment of bacteria to each other. So Sukransky et al., he studied 3000 samples and he gave, there are two kind of colonizer. He gave the term early colonizer and the late colonizer. Early colonizer are the colonizer which come and attach to the surface of the tooth first. So these are the bacteria which are attached to the surface first, and there are late colonizer which are attached to the surface of the bacteria later on. So we have, so the early colonizers, I have switched now. Early colonizer I have made with a green, and a late colonizer I have made with a red. This is because of some reason. Now this bacteria in the red color, which is T square P. So these bacteria with the T square P, P. gingivalis, T. forsythus and T. denticola, these are red because they are responsible for bleeding on probing. So these are the red complex. These bacteria itself are known as the red complex because they are responsible for bleeding and probing. And if you remember in the previous video, we have covered that initially the primary colonizer or the early colonizers are the gram-positive aerobic bacteria, and later on the gram-negative comes, and later on there are anaerobic bacteria. So if you look at the structure of the gingiva, the first bacteria which attaches onto the surface of the tooth now are the green color are the gram-positive bacteria, and later on the bacteria which come, the secondary colonizers are gram-negative bacteria, and these bacteria, they go inside and causes gingivitis and periodontitis. So because these are anaerobic, they go inside the tissues also, so they utilize all the oxygen. So all the oxygen which is utilized during the primary colonizer, during the gram-positive aerobic bacteria, so there is no oxygen left inside the epithelial tissues in which the anaerobic bacteria come and sits. So the later bacteria which come are the gram-negative anaerobic, and the first bacteria which come are the gram-positive aerobic bacteria. So these FCP complex, if you see fruit, palak and cabbage wale people, these are the gram-negative which are responsible for the deep pockets. Now these fruits, palak and cabbage is our F nucleatum. If you remember, fruit and palak is our intermedia, P provitella basically, and our C for cabbage is the C rectus. Now these bacteria are responsible for the deep pockets, and both of these are tissue associated. The primary colonizer are the tooth associated, and later the late colonizer or the secondary colonizer are basically the tissue associated. So they do most, the red complex, they do all of the gingival destruction is because of these bacteria, the gram-negative anaerobic bacteria. So the positive one, we have the early colonizer, which comes first is our non-veg. If you remember, that is our American steak. So American stick is our actinomyces and the streptococcus species. So the streptococcus and species in which S. sanguis is the first one, and S. oralis and S. mitis, and also actinomyces we have A. comitans and also capnocytophaga. So this is about the Sukransky, who studied 3000 sample and gave the early colonizer and the late colonizer. So this is about the development of the plaque, which is first the formation, there is a formation of the pellicle, and then there is initial adhesion and there is attachment. So after the initial adhesion, after the first bacteria they come and contacts, it makes a bond, it makes a strong bond, which is our attachment, and then later on there is a colonization as we compare it with the coronavirus. So initially the coronavirus is developed in the Wuhan lab, which is the primary formation of pellicle, and then there is the coronavirus, it gets spreads, it is attached from one person to another. This is the attachment, and the colonization is spreading of the coronavirus. Like this we have covered the development of the dental plaque from the formation of the pellicle up to the colonization and the plaque maturation. So this is all about the development of the dental plaque, and we have 2 more videos coming up to cover the dental plaque. And if you feel that you have learned something new today, then go ahead and hit the comment box and the like button, because this helped me to help you with your knowledge, with your career, and it helped me to help you to skyrocket your career and to excel in your exams while you stay at home. Study with us, with your family. Stay safe.